Rain poured down from the dark sky as the small alien girl sat in the back of the transport truck. Her tiny hands shook as she clutched the thin metal bars. She was no taller than a child, with pale blue skin and large glowing eyes filled with fear. The whispers from the other captured aliens still echoed in her mind. "Humans eat us," one had said before the soldiers separated them. "They roast us alive," another added, voice trembling. "They keep the small ones as pets, or worse." Those words stayed with her like a nightmare. Now she was alone. The truck stopped with a loud screech. The girl's heart pounded. The door opened, and rain splashed on her feet. A tall human soldier stood there, his face hidden under the shadow of his helmet. He looked at her for a long moment, but said nothing. She thought this was it. The moment they would drag her away. Instead, he simply motioned for her to follow. The girl didn't move at first. Her legs felt frozen. Her heart told her to run, but there was nowhere to go. The forest around them was dark, full of strange sounds. Finally, she climbed down slowly, trembling from head to toe. The soldier turned and began walking through the muddy path. She followed at a distance, her small feet sinking in the wet soil. Every step she took, she wondered, will he kill me when we reach his home? Will I end up like the others said? The man said nothing. His boots made heavy sounds on the wooden bridge they crossed. Rain hit the metal roof of a small cabin ahead. It looked lonely, like a place where bad things happened. The girl's fear grew bigger with every heartbeat. Inside the cabin, it was warm, lit by a small fire. The soldier placed his rifle against the wall and removed his wet jacket. He looked at her again, but still didn't speak. She stood near the door, shaking. The man pointed to a corner with a thin blanket on the floor. Then he turned away and began preparing something in a metal pot over the fire. The smell reached her nose, something hot, something that made her stomach twist with hunger. But she didn't move. She didn't dare. This is how it starts, she thought. He will feed me to make me fatter. Then he will eat me. She wanted to cry, but no tears came. After some time, the man placed a bowl of steaming food near her corner. He didn't touch her. He didn't come close. He just left it there and walked away to sit near the fire. The girl stared at the bowl like it was poison. The smell was so good. Her stomach growled loudly, but she hugged herself tighter. No, I won't fall for his trap, she thought. Not tonight. The man didn't even look at her. He sat quietly, eating from his own bowl. The rain outside grew louder. Wind shook the windows. Somewhere in the forest, a wolf-like howl rose into the night. Girl jumped. Her heart pounded like a drum. The man stood, checked his rifle, then looked at the door. She froze again. Is he going to lock me in? Chain me up? But he didn't. He only pushed a wooden beam across the door to keep the wind out. Then he went back to the fire, silent as always. The girl slowly sat on the floor, knees to her chest. She watched him through the flickering light. He looked dangerous, but not cruel. Still, she couldn't trust him. The storm raged on outside. Thunder crashed. The cabin shook. She closed her eyes and wished she was anywhere else. Hours passed. Finally, she heard the man lie down on his bed in the corner. The fire burned low. The little alien girl didn't sleep. She sat awake all night, afraid of the man, afraid of the storm, afraid of what tomorrow would bring. One thought kept repeating in her head, over and over. If he wanted to hurt me, why hasn't he done it yet? The storm outside had not stopped. Thunder rolled across the valley like angry drums. The little alien girl sat in the same corner, wide-eyed, hugging her knees. She hadn't eaten. The bowl of food still sat there, untouched, now cold. Her stomach hurt, but her fear was bigger than her hunger. Across the room, the human soldier slept on his bed. Or at least she thought he was sleeping. He didn't move much, except when the thunder shook the cabin. His face stayed hard, unreadable. In the fire's dim glow, the girl didn't trust him. She COULDN single quotes to dot all her life. She had heard terrible things about humans. How they destroyed planets. How they kept alien prisoners as experiments. How they smiled before killing. And yet, this one hadn't done any of that. Not yet. Her eyes moved to the open window. The storm wind blew in, cold and wet. She could run maybe, but where? The forest outside howled with creatures. Shadows moved between the trees whenever lightning flashed. She shivered. Suddenly, a loud crash outside made her jump. Something heavy had fallen near the cabin. The human was on his feet instantly. His rifle was in his hands before she could even blink. He didn't look at her. He only moved to the window and peered into the darkness. She held her breath. Was it another human? Another soldier? He stepped to the door, silent as a hunter. For a moment, she thought he would open it and drag her out into the storm. But then she saw his face in the firelight. It wasn't anger, it was caution. He opened the door slowly, rifle ready. Rain sprayed inside, cold and sharp. The girl crouched lower, heart pounding. Lightning lit the yard outside, and she saw them, eyes, dozens of glowing eyes. Between the trees, not human eyes, something else was out there. The human shouted, a deep, sharp command in his language. The creatures froze for a moment, then melted back into the woods, silent as ghosts. The soldier closed the door and dropped the bar across it. He checked the windows twice before sitting back by the fire. His face was tense now. The girl's fear grew. Those things, were they hunting him or me? She didn't dare ask. She just watched him. The man set his rifle down but didn't lie back down. He stayed sitting, eyes on the flames, jaw tight. Hours passed. The storm calmed little by little, but the man didn't sleep. Again, neither did she. Near morning, the fire died down to soft red coals. The man finally spoke. His voice was deep calm. You should eat, he said. The alien girl flinched. It was the first time she heard him talk. She didn't answer. He didn't push her. He only picked up the cold bowl, replaced it with fresh warm food from the pot, and left it near her again. Then he sat by the door, watching the pale morning light creep through the window. The girl stared at the food. She thought about the eyes in the forest, the way they had stopped when he shouted, the way he had stood in the rain with his weapon, ready to fight them. Was he protecting her? Her tiny hands shook as she reached for the bowl. Slowly, she took a bite. The human didn't look at her, but she saw something strange then. On his arm, the sleeve of his shirt had slipped back, a scar. Long, jagged, ugly. The kind made by war. Her eyes lingered on it. What had hurt him like that? And why? Why? Did it make her feel less afraid of him now? The morning light crept slowly across the cabin floor. The storm outside had passed, leaving only dripping trees and cold air. The little alien girl sat with the bowl in her hands. It was warm, the smell filling the small room. She hadn't eaten since before she was captured, but her mind still raced. What if it's poison? The human soldier sat near the door, cleaning his rifle. His face was calm, his movements slow, careful. He didn't look at her. She kept glancing at him. Finally, she saw him take his own bowl from the pot and eat. He chewed, swallowed, set the bowl aside, and drank water. He was eating the same thing. The girl's stomach growled. Hunger won. She took a small bite. It was warm, salty, filling. Nothing happened. She took another bite. Then another. Within minutes, the bowl was empty. The soldier didn't say a word. He only nodded slightly, as if to say, good, eat more next time. But the girl wasn't sure what to think. Humans were supposed to be monsters. That's what she was told. Then why hadn't he hurt her? Why had he scared away the glowing-eyed creatures last night? Why was he feeding her now? Her eyes moved to the long scar on his arm again. It looked deep, ugly, like something had clawed him open once. What had done that to him? The man caught her staring. She froze, bowl still in her hands. He didn't speak. He only pulled his sleeve down and went back to cleaning his rifle. The silence between them was heavy, then a sound outside, a metal sound. The soldier stood instantly, rifle in hand. His whole body changed, tense, alert. The girl shrank back into her corner, heart pounding. He opened the door slowly. Outside, under the gray morning sky, lay a small metal box. The soldier scanned the trees before stepping out to pick it up. The girl watched from the window, curiosity mixing with fear. He brought the box inside, set it on the table, and opened it. Inside was a blinking device and a folded piece of paper. The soldier read the note, his jaw tightening. He crumpled it in one hand and tossed it into the fire. The girl's eyes widened. Who left it there? What did it say? The man didn't tell her, but his face had changed. He looked angry. Not at her, at someone else. He pulled open a drawer, checking the bullets for his rifle. He strapped a knife to his belt. The girl's fear returned. Was he leaving? Would he hand her over to whoever sent that box? She gripped the empty bowl tighter. Finally he looked at her and said in his deep voice, "Stay inside. Don't open the door." Then he was gone. The girl sat frozen. Alone. The cabin felt colder without him. Minutes crawled by. Then voices. Outside. Not his. Strange voices, rough, angry, speaking a language she didn't know. Her heart stopped. Who were they? One voice laughed loudly. Another shouted something about the human and the alien girl. Her blood ran cold. They were looking for her. She crawled to the window and peeked out. 3 figures stood near the trees. Not soldiers. Not humans. Scavengers. She had heard of them before. Thieves who stole from battlefields, who sold prisoners for money. They were armed. One of them kicked at the door. The girl bit her lip, trembling. Where was the human soldier? Why? Wasn't he back yet? The door shook under another kick. She covered her ears as the voices grew louder. Crueler. Then, from the trees, came the sharp crack of a rifle. One shot. The scavengers froze. Another shot. They ran into the woods, shouting curses. The door burst open. The soldier stood there, rifle smoking, face like stone. The girl stared at him in shock. He closed the door, set the rifle aside, and checked the windows again before locking them tight. Only then did he sit, silent as always. But she saw it now. The scavengers had feared him, not her. Him. And for the first time, she began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, he was the reason she was still alive. The scavengers were gone, but the cabin no longer felt safe. The little alien girl sat by the fire, clutching the blanket around her small frame. Her large eyes kept moving to the soldier, who was checking his rifle again. He had saved her. Again. But why? Humans were supposed to be cruel. They were supposed to treat her like a trophy or a prisoner. That's what she had always believed. And yet this man. He said nothing, asked nothing, but kept her safe. The soldier threw another log on the fire. "Storm's coming," he muttered, mostly to himself. And he was right. By evening, the sky turned dark purple. Winds howled through the valley like angry spirits. Thunder cracked so loud the floor shook beneath them. The girl hugged herself tighter. She hated storms. On her homeworld, storms meant danger, meant hiding underground until it was over. The man shut the windows, locked the door, and checked the roof for leaks. Rain hit the cabin like 1,000 stones. She tried not to look afraid, but every time the thunder hit, she flinched. He noticed. Finally, he dragged a chair closer to the fire and motioned for her to sit near it. She hesitated, then moved closer. The warmth made her feel better, but the storm outside was growing worse. The wind roared like monsters circling the cabin. Then lightning flashed. And for a second, she saw something outside the window. A shape. Metal. Half buried in the mud. She gasped softly. It was a crashed pod. Her people's technology. The soldier followed her gaze. His face changed instantly. He grabbed his jacket and rifle. The girl stood quickly. What is that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. But he didn't answer. He opened the door. Stepping into the rain, she ran to the window, watching him move through the storm toward the half-buried pod. Lightning lit up the scene. He brushed mud from the metal. There were alien symbols on the side, her people's language. Her heart pounded. Could there be survivors inside? The soldier pried the door open with his knife. Smoke hissed out. Sparks danced in the rain. He leaned inside the pod. For a moment, everything was silent except the storm. Then he stepped back, holding something in his hand, a small black box, blinking faint red. He returned to the cabin, water dripping from his jacket. The girl looked at the box, shivering. What is it?" He set it on the table. "Beacon," he said finally. Her eyes widened. A distress signal. It meant someone, somewhere might come looking for it, and maybe for her. The soldier smashed it open with his rifle butt. Sparks flew. The blinking light died. The girl jumped. "Why did you do that?" she asked. He met her eyes for the first time that night. His face was hard, serious. "Because the ones looking for it," he said slowly, "are not coming to save you." Her blood turned cold. She didn't ask more. She didn't want to know. But deep inside, she knew he was right. The scavengers, the hunters, whoever sent that box earlier. They wanted her. Not to help her. To use her. The storm raged out outside, but inside the cabin, another storm was growing. Questions, fears, secrets the soldier wasn't telling her. She wrapped the blanket tighter and stared at the broken beacon on the table. She had no idea who to fear more now, the people coming for her, or the soldier who seemed ready to fight them all. The storm passed in the night, but the fear stayed behind. The little alien girl sat wrapped in the blanket, staring at the broken distress beacon on the table. The soldier had smashed it like it was a snake about to bite. She didn't know why. But something told her the danger wasn't over. The soldier moved around the cabin like a man preparing for war. He checked his rifle, sharpened the knife on his belt, and laid extra bullets near the window. The girl finally spoke in a trembling voice. "Someone will come for that pod, won't they?" The man didn't look at her. "They will," he said simply. Her small fingers gripped the blanket tighter. "And they want me?" He looked at her then. His eyes were dark, unreadable. "Yes." The single word hit her like a cold wind. She didn't ask more. She didn't want to know what they would do if they found her. Hours passed. The soldier moved with silent focus, watching the tree line from the window. The girl stayed near the fire, too afraid to sleep. Then she heard it. Voices. Low, rough, cruel voices drifting through the trees. The soldier's rifle was in his hands. Instantly, he motioned for her to stay low. The voices came closer. Laughter, metal clanking, boots crunching on wet leaves. Through the window, she saw them, 5 figures moving out of the forest. Not soldiers, not rescuers. Scavengers. Their armor was mismatched, stolen from different wars. Their weapons looked old but deadly. One carried a net. Another dragged a chain. They weren't here to talk. The leader stepped forward and banged on the cabin door with his rifle butt. "Human," he shouted. His voice was harsh, mocking. "We know you have the girl. Hand her over, and maybe we let you live." The girl's blood ran cold. The soldier didn't answer. The leader laughed. "You think you can keep her? You don't know what she's worth." Worth. The word made the girl's stomach twist. The scavenger kept talking, his voice full of cruelty. "There's a bounty on her head. Alive, dead, doesn't matter. But alive pays better." The girl's heart pounded. The soldier's voice finally came, calm but hard. "Leave, now." The scavengers laughed louder. "Or what?" the leader sneered. "You'll shoot all 5 of us for an alien child?" The soldier's answer was the sound of a single rifle shot. The leader's helmet cracked as the bullet hit. The tree inches from his head. Silence. The mocking smiles vanished. The scavengers ducked for cover. Weapons up now. The girl trembled under the table, hands over her ears. One scavenger shouted, "He won't risk the girl's life. Push forward." Two of them crept toward the door. Another shot rang out. One scavenger fell screaming, clutching his leg. The others froze. The leader cursed. "Fall back. We'll come at night, human. You can't watch forever." They dragged their wounded man into the trees and vanished. Like ghosts, the soldier didn't move from the window for a long time. The forest went quiet again, but the girl knew it wasn't over. The scavengers would be back, and next time, maybe with more men. The soldier finally turned toward her. "Pack your things," he said. She blinked. We're leaving?" His jaw tightened. "They won't stop, and I won't fight them here." For the first time since she had met him, she heard something in his voice she hadn't before. Not anger, not fear. Something else. Determination. Like he had done this before. Like this wasn't the first time men had come hunting someone he protected. The girl hugged the blanket tighter. She realized she knew almost nothing about this man, and yet she trusted him more than anyone else in the galaxy right now. The little alien girl didn't sleep that night. Every creak of the wooden cabin made her jump. Every gust of wind through the trees made her heart race. She kept hearing the scavengers' words over and over. There's a bounty on her head. Alive, dead. Doesn't matter. She sat near the fire, knees pulled to her chest, watching the soldier as he packed his gear. He moved with silent precision. Extra ammo, a canteen, a small first aid kit. She finally whispered, Why are they after me?" He didn't answer at first. He checked his rifle again, tightened the strap on his pack. Then, without looking at her, he said, "Because of who you are." She blinked. "Who I am?" The soldier finally turned. His eyes were sharp, searching. "You don't know, do you?" he asked. The girl shook her head slowly. He studied her for a moment. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper, the one he had taken from the scavenger's first message before he burned it. He handed it to her. She unfolded it with trembling hands. It wasn't written in her language, but she saw the picture, her face, and below it, strange alien symbols. "I can't read it," she whispered. The soldier said quietly, "It says you're the last heir to your planet's ruling family. The Empire thought you died when the war started, but someone found out you lived. Now, everyone wants to sell you to the highest bidder." Her hands shook as she stared at the paper. She wasn't just a lost girl. She wasn't just a prisoner. She was royal. Her throat felt tight. "That can't be true." The soldier didn't argue. Instead, he leaned his rifle against the wall and sat across from her. For the first time since she met him, his face softened. "My daughter," he said slowly, "was about your age." The girl looked up sharply. "She died 2 years ago," he continued, voice low, heavy. "Different war, different planet. I couldn't save her." Silence filled the cabin, broken only by the wind outside. The girl didn't know what to say. Finally, she asked softly, "Is that why you're helping me?" The soldier's eyes met hers. "Yes, I won't let them take you. Not like they took her." The girl's heart twisted. All this time she thought he was silent because he didn't care. But now she saw it, the way he carried, the grief behind his eyes. He wasn't cold. He was broken, and maybe saving her was his way of fixing something inside himself. The soldier stood and looked out the window. The sun was rising, painting the sky pale gold. "They'll come again," he said, "and next time they won't just send scavengers." The girl swallowed hard. What will we do?" He checked his rifle one last time. "We move through the mountains. I know a place where ships land. If we can reach it, I can get you off this planet." The girl clutched the blanket tighter. Leaving the cabin felt like leaving the only safe place she had left, but she trusted him now. Than anyone. He looked at her once more. Pack whatever you need. We travel light. They'll be hunting us. The girl nodded, even though she had almost nothing to pack. She took one last look at the small cabin, the fire, the walls, the roof that kept her dry, and wondered if she would ever see it again. As they stepped into the cold morning air, the soldier scanning the tree line with sharp eyes, she realized something. She wasn't just running from danger anymore. She was running towards something bigger. Freedom. And maybe a chance to live a life she never thought she'd have. The journey through the mountains was long and cold. The little alien girl followed close behind the soldier, her small feet slipping on the wet rocks. The wind cut through her thin clothes, but she didn't complain. She was too scared to complain. Every time a branch snapped in the distance, she froze. Every shadow between the trees made her heart jump. The soldier never relaxed. His rifle stayed ready. His eyes scanned the hills above and the forests below. He was expecting trouble. And trouble came. By midday, the sound of engines filled the sky. The girl looked up and saw them, two black ships flying low, heading straight toward the valley. The soldier grabbed her arm. Move, he ordered, voice sharp. They ran through the trees, staying low as the ships circled overhead. The girl's legs burned with pain, but she didn't stop. The soldier led her to a narrow cave hidden between the rocks. They slipped inside. Just as the ships passed over, the noise faded, but not for long. Voices echoed through the valley. The soldiers were coming. Inside the cave, the little girl hugged herself tightly. They found us, she whispered. The soldier checked his rifle, calm but tense. We keep moving. There's a landing site ahead. If we can reach it, I can get you off this planet. She looked up at him with wide eyes. Will you come too? He didn't answer. That silence told her everything. They moved again when the sky grew dark. The landing site was close now, a flat clearing where small ships often came for supplies. But so were the hunters. Laser shots cracked through the night. As they ran, trees exploded into splinters. The girls screamed as bullets tore through the air around them. The soldier fired back, each shot precise, deadly. He moved like a man who had lived his whole life in war, but there were too many enemies for everyone. He drove back, two more appeared. Finally, they reached the clearing. A small cargo ship was waiting, its ramp down, engines humming. The pilot waved frantically. Hurry, the soldier pushed the girl forward. Go, get inside. But she stopped halfway up the ramp. What about you? She shouted over the noise. He didn't answer right away. Then he said quietly, they're after you, not me. If I go, they'll follow. If I stay, you get away. Her heart dropped. No, come with me. The soldier gave a small, tired smile. I can't. My war ends here. Tears filled her eyes. She wanted to argue, to scream, but the hunters were closing in fast. The soldier handed her a small metal tag from around his neck. Keep this, he said, so you remember someone fought for you. She clutched it in, her tiny hands shaking her head. Please, come with me. He looked at her one last time, and for a moment, she saw the grief in his eyes, the grief of a father who couldn't save his own child, but saved her instead. Live, he said, softly. That's how you thank me. Then he turned, rifle ready, and ran toward the trees where the hunters waited. The girl screamed his name, but the pilot pulled her inside, hitting the controls. The ramp closed. The ship lifted off, through the window. The girl saw flashes of gunfire below. The soldier fought like a man with nothing to lose. And then, the valley disappeared beneath the clouds. Hours later, the girl sat alone in the cargo bay, clutching the soldier's metal tag. She didn't know if he had survived. She didn't know if she would ever see him again. But she knew one thing, a human she had once feared had given her everything, her life, her freedom, her future. And somewhere, deep inside, she promised herself she would make his sacrifice mean something. Because heroes weren't always kings. Sometimes they were just soldiers with broken hearts.